And that is it for Manchester City this season in Champions League. It all comes to an end at the hands of Real Madrid, who really has been their enemy the past years, because it was Real Madrid who ended City's run in the knockout phase playoffs last season, in the quarterfinals the year prior, and in the 2021-22 season, it was Real Madrid who ended City's run in the semifinals. City did beat Real Madrid in the semis the year that they won in 2022-2023. But after this match, Pep Guardiola, he was asked about his future with City, so here's what he had to say.
Oh, everybody want to fire me, right? Oh, God, guys.
If you ended
one day I will come here and say, bye-bye, guys. I still am here. 1 more year contract. Okay, guys. I know that.
If you only had the one Champions League, would that be disappointing to you? Would that be enough given how good?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I have to win 6 Champions League to be recognized in that.
But listen, what Pep Guardiola had to say, I don't know if you guys took a listen, it was like a 15-minute post-game presser. He seemed a little bit delirious in this one, and you can kind of hear it there. But asked about his future, Geoff, what do you make of his response there?
Sarcastic, dismissive, didn't really engage in it, which I don't blame him to a degree, because he's not going to sit there and say, yeah, actually, you're right, guys, I am thinking of quitting as well. A lot of talk about this is his final season in charge of Man City. We can't stand that up, although you can't pretend that it isn't a talking point, because there seems to be so much chatter about it. But, you can't officially say, yeah, we know he is going to leave at the end of this season. You just can't do that. I think the most interesting question he was asked there, if this is it, is one Champions League enough for your legacy? Which, personally, I think it's a really tough question, because it's not easy to win the Champions League. No matter what you've got at your disposal, you could argue that in some Champions League scenarios he over-tinkered. That's been levelled at him before. He's probably disappointed if he only leaves with one Champions League, but he certainly shouldn't feel embarrassed or that he's hasn't fulfilled, the brief, if you like.
Do you think?
No, I'm just curious, because both of you have spent time in his presence covering the Premier League and everything, and looking at his legacy, right? Because we do have to talk about if this is his last season, as you talked about previously. Where does he rank now, right? We were talking about a manager who revolutionized football.
You're talking about all time?
All time. If this is his last season,
yeah,
right? Where does he rank right now?
Are you asking me personally?
All time, yeah.
I think he's second. That's my personal opinion. I still think Sir Alex is the embodiment of what success in English football looks like. I think because of the generations that Sir Alex went through and the different way that he had to revolutionise himself, revolutionise his tactics, and also just keep squads interested. I've never seen a manager, and Geoff will be able to attest to this more, but I've never seen a manager engage in a squad like the way that Sir Alex was able to engage in a squad. He'd have Park ready for a game 3 games ahead, and turn around and be like, this is the game that you're going to shine. Darren Fletcher's another example. And Wes Brown, they're seen as just maybe squad members, but they became key components across a whole season. So the way that he managed seasons, I thought was sensational. What Pep's done on the pitch, though, in terms of revolutionising style, the way that football now looks, I think he definitely deserves his flowers, and I think I would put him second in terms of the biggest success. Where would you put him in terms of...
Yeah, I agree. Funny enough, as you were saying that, I'm thinking, does he just edge out Arsene Wenger? Because Arsene Wenger absolutely revolutionised English football with his approach and what he achieved and style of football. And you can't ignore Arsene Wenger or Sir Alex never had anything like the resources that Pep Guardiola had. But I go back to what I first said is money doesn't guarantee success. It's a tricky one. Me personally, I'm with JayDee, absolutely giving flowers. There's some fantastic football teams. Man City have produced some brilliant displays, absolutely brilliant displays. So he's up with the very best.
I think he's tried to change things a number of times during this, let's say, down period. And I don't think he's necessarily happy with the responses he's getting from his squad. And, a manager can only have a certain number of tricks that they can have to kind of revamp a squad. And he's had the investment, he's had the money, he's had but it isn't quite the 17-18 team. It's not even the team that was so successful in 22. The treble team, it's a team that is struggling right now. At times I look at it and I'm even questioning, is that a Pep team? And that's not really ever been a question mark I've had for him during his whole tenure in England.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about the players who are on the pitch, right? Manchester City are in a massive transition. And for as great as Pep has been, for as much as he's revolutionized the game, every cycle has its end. I see the way the Premier League has gone, and I give you credit for talking about this and being the first one at this network that I heard talking about this, of the Premier League is becoming more direct, more physical, and it's almost an homage back to the 90s in how direct, get in the box, right? That's not the Pep way. Teams are reveling playing against Manchester City right now, knowing that if they stay in the match long enough, City will give them an opportunity to come back into it.
Yeah, but that's the antidote to the Pep way, because if you can't out-football Manchester City, don't take them on at football. Yeah. Take them on in a different... So every team that plays like that, we can't beat them at football. So let's beat them a different way. So it's cyclical. The other thing I would say is, well, I think we should be careful not to write them off. They could still win a treble this year quite comfortably. It's not impossible at all. They can win Carabao, they can win the FA Cup. Arsenal could blow it. So let's not be too hasty. But I do think, I agree with JayDee, it's the body language, it's the tone, it just looks and sounds burnt out.
That's the word to describe it. Yeah. I feel like he's mentally exhausted. It's not really a...
And you can't blame him, can you?
Oh my gosh, he's been giving it for so long. And I also will say something, and this has come from my experience of covering it directly in terms of on the sidelines. I think when you're at the 1%, when you become the top level manager in any field, to be honest, you kind of need competition. And I think the second that Jurgen Klopp kind of left, in his mind, he had to kind of find himself a new level of competition, because you think about the managers that are now competing against him, in all due respect, they're like his respawns. They're like players that he's had underneath him, have taken under the coaching badge. Previously, Maresca, Arteta as well has done his experience with him. Even his number 2 was previously at Liverpool, sitting there competing against him. So everyone's kind of joined or taken something from him, and you kind of become like, and I mean this respectfully, like the Godfather. And now it's like, but his rival during his tenure, the same way we had Ferguson versus Wenger, or we had Wenger versus Mourinho, we even had Mourinho versus Ferguson. Like, he needed Klopp because that kept him motivated every year. And because you don't really have that peer on the sideline that's necessarily pushing you, you can sometimes look at yourself and be like, maybe it's my time as well.
It's the classic question: who motivates the motivator?
Well, looking ahead to the weekend now, how big and massive is this? When we talk about legacy, we talk about Pep, and we talk about Man City.
I don't necessarily think, I don't think, honestly...
Not that one trophy.
The quotes at the end of the game really told me how Pep's looking at it. He's playing mind games in terms of saying that Arsenal's the best team in Europe and they're the best team in England and they're the favourites going into it. That's mind games, that's tactical mind games from a manager, pushing the responsibility away from your team. But I also think there's a part of him that believes that. I don't believe he's just playing mind games. I genuinely believe he recognises, for the first time, I might be the underdog in a lot of these finals, and that's okay. It's a different aspect, it's a different way to approach the final. But let's still get a tune out of these. Let's not sleep on this Man City team. I think there's still not quality throughout, and they haven't got a best number 9 in world football. Semenyo is as good as anybody in world football in form right now. Rodri, Bernardo Silva, a back 4 that could walk into pretty much any team in Europe. Come on, let's not sleep on what we still have here.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.